A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4 The Dream Master, which sounds more like...
Sounds like a game show host to me.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Very good movie.
Yeah, cut it out!
Tells the story of the 3 survivors of the last movie. Joey, again played by Rodney Eastman, Kincaid, again played by Ken Sajos, and Kristen, now played by Tuesday Night. Tuesday Night. Who's her sister? Wednesday afternoon?
I don't need this aggravation.
Kristen can't seem to let the idea that Freddy is still alive out of her head, while the other 2 are growing annoyed at her paranoia. I mean, you'd think that they would trust her after the event of the last movie, but we don't have time for that right now. Meanwhile, Kristen's new buddy Alice, played by Lisa Wilcox, who apparently has magic powers, but we don't have time for that right now, is now targeted by Freddy, and they basically have to band together to defeat him once and for all. Again. Yeah, the rest of the series is pretty much now just a rinse and repeat.
Lighten up.
Despite insisting that he wanted the series to end with part 3, Wes Craven did actually pitch another entry to New Line Cinema, which would have supposedly incorporated time travel into the mix by allowing Freddy to traverse time via the kids' dreams. Because if all else fails... insert time travel!
Well, we waited a long time.
However, producers Robert Shea and Sarah Risha thought this idea was too complex to include in a Freddy film and rejected it, but they would still borrow elements of it.
We're both asleep. He's got us going in circles.
Yeah, close enough. Robert Englund actually said that that's his favourite scene in the entire franchise.
No, it's not.
Instead, William Kotzwinkle was brought in to write a new script. The studio did later approach Craven to perform rewrites and direct the film, but he turned them down, feeling that they should have taken up his initial idea. No! You didn't want to do my idea, so now I'm not helping you at all.
Well, I'm not so sure.
Without Craven on board, the studio proceeded ahead anyway, but without a script and without a director, but they were still desperate to get the production moving as quickly as possible. Around the same time, Brian Helgeland, who would go on to win an Oscar for writing LA Confidential, was working at New Line on a script named Highway to Hell, and studio head Mike DeLuca begged him to abandon that project and help come up with a script for Nightmare 4. Helgeland then went to his parents' house with Kotzwinkle's script and rewrote the entire thing in just 9 days. It shows.
I don't think so.
When choosing a director, Tom McLaughlin was the first to be asked after completing Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. He agreed on the condition that he be given complete creative control, which the studio refused because the movie had already begun filming. When I finished Friday, I was offered Nightmare 4 and went to New Line, met with them, and I said, I love Freddy, I would love to do one of these, but I really want to do what I just did where I had creative control. And they go, well, we're already shooting. What? Yeah, we're already shooting. We're shooting like 2 different units for the visual effects and something else, puppets or something. And I said, without a director? Yeah, we kind of know how we're going to make these things. And I went, that's not the way I work. So I turned it down. Ironically, the producers clearly loved his work on Jason so much that they ripped off basic plot points. Like the serial killer genuinely being dead, but the main character is such a paranoid schizoid they antagonise and wake their ass up, so they're actually the whole cause of all of the murders in the first place.
That's great.
Eventually, the director's chair was given to Rennie Harlin, which marked his first foray into Hollywood, having only directed low-budget features in his homeland of Finland. Harlin wanted the film to replicate the more comedic style established in Dream Warriors, feeling that because the audience was so familiar with Freddy Krueger by now, they wouldn't be able to recapture the scare factor of the original. We've reached a point where the audience sees Freddy as the hero. They come to these movies to hear his funny lines and see him do those amazing things. And because of that popularity, I'm faced with showing Freddy in a more heroic light and giving him more screen time. People will still fear him, but they will also be cheering him on.
Don't you understand?
When it came to casting, the producers desperately wanted Patricia Arquette to return as Kristen, but she turned them down as she wanted to move into more varied types of films rather than being typecast as a horror icon. This caused problems for her replacement, as she admitted to feeling out of place on set, as many of the returning actors had looked forward to reuniting with Arquette. Many cast members also accused Harlan of giving Knight preferential treatment on set, spurred by rumours that the two were romantically involved, though both parties flatly denied this. Well, at least they had a very creative way to confirm the recast.
Be calm, Kristen.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I often talk to myself during life or death situations in the third person.
All right.
In addition, over 600 actresses auditioned for the role of Alice before it was given to Lisa Wilcox, who had actually read for a part in Dream Warriors but failed to get the job. Filming finally began in early 1988, but the production continued to be badly hampered by the 1988 Writers Guild of America strike. This forced Harlan, the producers, and the actors to improvise much of the final film, and many of the nightmare sequences were made up on the spot rather than drawing from the script, not. It shows, taking inspiration from the likes of The Exorcist and A Chinese Ghost Story.
I think I see salvation.
In addition, the character of Rick, played by Andrus Jones, was originally supposed to die in an elevator accident caused by Freddy in the dream world. But due to budget cuts, this couldn't be filmed and was changed to the infamous dojo sequence seen in the final product. A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, The Dream Master, was released on August the 19th, 1988, and despite the film's disastrous production, it ended up becoming the highest grossing movie in the entire franchise, discounting the later crossover, topping the domestic box office for 3 consecutive weekends and raking in $49 million in the US alone. However, reviews were once again mixed. The acting and special effects were highly praised, but many accused the film of being far too derivative of its predecessors, and also lambasted a lot of the creative decisions that we'll go over shortly. Despite this, it's often rated by fans as one of the series' best installments, including Robert Englund, who to this day maintains it as his best performance as Freddy Krueger. Really? I mean, I'm just shocked that it made this much money and it was so beloved by people, because it tends to be the one that everyone forgets. I mean, doesn't this opening just scream Freddy Krueger? Yeah, Pop meets Freddy Krueger. Don't know what that was.
Hello.
You see what I mean? A little girl could say anything in a horror movie and it's instantly terrifying.
Oh shit, Kristen, not again!
Oh hell no, I'm being forced to appear in another one of these again! So Kristen is still dragging people into her dreams against their will. There's a word for that, isn't there?
I don't know.
Wait, what? Freddy Krueger's turned into a dog?
Ew! Ew! Ew!
Freddy Krueger's turned into a bug?
You going out dressed like that?
What's wrong with me this time?
No, seriously. What is wrong with that? She's completely covered up! Oh well, Kristen's boyfriend, who just looks like Zac Efron from Wish, climbs out the window. What is wrong with this family? In fact, weirdly, the dad is a colossal arsehole in this.
You call this vegetation a meal after a 10-hour workday? What the hell am I, a rabbit?
I am so going to die. Now go make me a fucking sandwich, you hoe. No, he never actually dies. He was supposed to, but his death scene was cut out for pacing. It's just weird. The issue with Part 4 is the characters in the last movie were all sympathetic and somewhat likeable. But here, it just becomes a generic buffet of characters for Freddy to pick apart one by one. None are massively interesting, outside of those from the last film, except Efron Light, who is genuinely a likeable and really supportive boyfriend, so he's probably going to die. Cool. The character of Alice is clearly off her rocker and constantly stops what she's doing to completely hallucinate. Yeah, someone get her in the psych unit. Oh, and the references are really forced in this.
Jason.
Get it? Look, the diner is called Crave Inn. Do you get it? Crave Inn! Dog just pissed fire. And that's quite literally how he comes back from the dead. A dog pisses fire on him. It's never explained how or why. Was he possessing the dog? If so, how did he do that if he's dead? Was he playing dead this whole time? Why did it take him so long to strike? Why does this look like a cutscene from Shaun and the Holy Ark for the Sega Saturn?
You shouldn't have buried me. I'm not dead.
Gee, thanks for that, Fred. For a minute there, 19 minutes into A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, while I'm looking at the full embodiment of Freddy Krueger right there on the screen talking to me, I was convinced that Freddy Krueger was in fact dead. It's so lame. Kincaid shoves a car onto him and then celebrates like a toddler. Yeah, he's learned nothing since the last film. You thought that stopped him? Are you new here? But it is worth it for some of these one-liners.
See you in hell. Tell him Freddy sent you. How's this for a wet dream?
I will say, as many problems as this movie has, Robert Englund is on top form here. He's just so terrifying, even when he doesn't have any dialogue. No matter how bad these films get, Englund is always terrific. A lot of the fanbase were outraged that 2 of the main characters from the last film are axed off in the first 25 minutes, but I love that. It's so shocking, and it predates other films to also try this trope, like Halloween 5 or Scream, and the fact that they're right after one another is even more surprising. Except, why is there no blood for Kincaid's death? I mean, apparently originally there was, but they toned it down for the rating, but I mean, you die in your dream, you're dead in reality. So he should be be bleeding at least a little bit. Where the hell's the blood? The bed death is a really solid throwback to the Johnny Depp kill in the original too. Even if Joey just sees tits and doesn't even question why a naked lady is swimming in his waterbed. Idiot, his boner keeps getting him in trouble. What's even more surprising is that the entire first half of the movie is based on Kristen's character, and then she also gets axed off quite early on. Say what you want about Elm Street 4, it's certainly not predictable. It constantly keeps you guessing. This also means that all of the interesting characters are now dead and we're left with all of the boring ones. God damn it. Although the filmmakers really should have taken advice from the decor of this diner. I will admit, once Joey and Kincaid are killed off, Kristen's story is quite sympathetic as nobody believes her and the only ones from the last movie to actually know the truth are all dead. But yeah, her acting really isn't the best. Sometimes she delivers some decent dialogue.
You just murdered me. Take that to your goddamn therapy.
But they really needed Arquette back. She was great. This new woman sucks.
So, why the haunted house?
It's not just a house.
It's a haunted house. He just said that. Pay attention. Why are we ripping off shots from Halloween? We know Freddy's not in there. They're all awake. Did you forget how Freddy works? Then again, these movies can't make up their mind if Freddy can or can't enter the real world at will, so who knows?
That has got to stop, honey.
There is quite an intense scene as Kristen's mother gives her sleeping pills, but then the directing makes you want to vomit as the camera just rotates around her from a bird's eye view. Jesus Christ, what the hell are you doing? And I will admit, Freddy Krueger on a beach wearing sunglasses is certainly something I did not expect to see today.
Why don't you, call on one of your little friends? Maybe they could help.
Well, yes, that's why he said it. He was being menacing, you idiot. But she accidentally pulls Alice into her dream, which now dooms her for the rest of her life. What a nice friend. Although Wilcox's acting is so bad. She's barely reacting to her friend being on the verge of death. Even if she thinks this is just a dream, you'd still react. Is she blind? Later on, she fails to kill Freddy and still doesn't react. And this is now the setup of the movie. Yeah, remember part 3 where they hyped up dream sharing and dream jumping as this really complex and unique gift? Well, here, Alice can do it too. No explanation other than...
My mom taught me when I was little.
That's all you need. Freddy basically uses her to bring people into the dream world, and she keeps falling for it. How many times can you accidentally drag someone else before you realise what you're doing and learn to control it? I mean, Freddy targeted Kristen because she was the last of the Elm Street kids. Alice then got caught in the crossfire, but now he's killing Alice's mates because... LOL? That's just really mean.
Why all of a sudden is this Freddy guy after you?
Although, some of these effects have aged like milk. Efron Light doesn't even believe Alice about the Freddy story, but why? 3 people have died, all of whom preached about Freddy being real, one of which is his fucking girlfriend. Now another is dying right in front of you, Alice is still preaching about Freddy, and he's still like, nah. Zac Efron Light gets pulled in and starts getting his ass kicked by John Cena because I guess they couldn't afford Robert Englund's stunt double that day. But then it's treated like such a badass moment as he uses his senses to kick an invisible Freddy's ass. It's such a stupid scene. And then he dies anyway. You know, I'm starting to notice a pattern here. Freddy's real, no he's not. Oh look, there he is, and I'm dead, funeral. Freddy's real, no he's not. Oh look, there he is, and I'm dead, funeral. Rinse and fucking repeat.
Hello, baby.
Okay, that was brilliant. Ruined all of the tension and drama, but worth it. And Freddy's got all of the souls of the kids on a pizza. This is ridiculous. Yeah, this is definitely the movie where they started to say fuck it and just made it as silly as possible.
I don't believe in you.
The fuck did you think that was going to do? This does lead to a really gruesome death as he snaps her elbows. This is severely fucked up, and the special effects do hold up actually pretty damn well. But just look at this, would you ever suspect that this is a Freddy Krueger movie? But I'd really love to know the limitations of Freddy's powers. He's been weakened by weapons, punches, fire, and even magic in the dream world, but then a truck does absolutely nothing? Or does this mean Alice was sleeping whilst driving, and he was also a sleeping passenger, or did she drag him into the dream? None of this makes any sense! Remember when these films were simple? Man just kills you in your dreams, you die in real life. Why all of this extra bullshit? I do love it we get a dramatic 80s montage of her suiting up to go off and try to kill an unkillable monster that she has no idea how to kill.
Welcome to Wonderland, Alice.
Surprised it took them this long to make that joke, to be fair. It's also treated like a badass climax for the most basic of fight moves. Yeah, bear in mind in the last film he had to take on a bunch of teenagers and now it's just one. And the editing is so off. Each cut is like a second too late every single time. Seriously, did Stevie Wonder edit this? And every other Freddy kill is over so quickly, but here it just drags. Just stab the bitch and be done with it. Alright, apparently we're now in the fucking Ghostbusters. During production, the writers, director and producers couldn't figure out how to kill off Freddy at the end of the film. And this led to the idea that we were given, where she uses a mirror to reflect the evil back to him and this somehow kills him. I need a stiff drink. I'm just not a huge fan of this whole souls inside of him nonsense. It was never a thing before and it feels like another Michael Myers over-explanation thing. Although the visuals are pretty cool as he dies. The scene was filmed using a 20-foot mechanical torso so that the heads moving around in Freddy's chest could be played by real actors and stuntmen, which is pretty cool. And it wouldn't be an 80s slasher without a random lazy cliffhanger. The movie is alright, actually. It's better than I expected, and it does have its moments considering it was written in about 20 seconds. That's fundamentally the problem. Everything about the film feels rushed, from the writing to the casting to the editing. England steals the show, and occasionally there's an interesting or scary idea, but not a lot of it makes sense and just borders on being completely ridiculous. That being said, based on the direction of the franchise later, it could have been a hell of a lot worse.